Welcome to Everyday Passions, Heart-Centered Conversations. I am Yvonne A Jones of 50andwisercoaching.com and the 50 and Wiser community on Facebook. I'm so happy to welcome you to our conversation today. My guest today is Larcenia White. Larcenia, welcome. Welcome to Everyday Passions.
Thank you, Yvonne. It's a pleasure to be here. It's so nice to meet you after hearing so much about you.
Oh, thank you so much. And oh my goodness, I want to welcome you and congratulate you for being the 2021 Celebrate You Woman of the Year runner-up. And I want to tell our listeners or viewers how you achieved this distinction, this recognition. And this was because Larcenia's impact and influence within the Celebrate You Women Embracing Wellness movement, and also her life-changing message around breathing room. Now, I'm going to be learning about the breathing room at the same time that you are. So I invite you to join us and enjoy the conversation. And for viewers as well, just so you know that this Celebrate You Embracing Wellness group was really, it's a group that's right here on Facebook that's been formed by two of my colleagues, Lawana Bradford and Barbara Breckley. And this event was streamed live on E360 TV in March of 2022. There were 12 monthly winners vying for the title of Woman of the Year. And I'm so delighted to have our runner-up, Mrs. Larcenia White, with us today and to get welcome again and to get us started. Before I dive into anything else that you do, would you please go ahead and share with us something personal, something that will help us to get to know you a little better?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. I am residing in sunny Arizona, Sierra Vista, a very small town, and I'm living with my husband of 60 years. His name is Gilbert, and he is fabulous. We have just enjoyed life together. I have two children. Well, they're adults, but Cheryl and Stephen, one's in Chicago, one's in Las Vegas. And I have two granddaughters, and they are fabulous as well. We have just a loving family, and we've been in this small town for 44 years. We came here because of the military. And so the military has given us some challenges, but a lot of opportunities. And so for us to be settled in this small town is very diverse, very friendly. It's just a perfect place for us. I say sometimes I feel like I own the streets because when I drive, I don't have many cars to worry about. And we have just a wonderful church and lots of good friends. And so we support one another, and it's just the ideal lifestyle for us right now.
Wonderful. And from what you just shared, I can tell that family is very, very important to you. You enjoy your family, from your husband, your children, your grandchildren, and that's wonderful. So now that you've shared that little bit of personal bit with us, and to be living in one place for 44 years, that doesn't happen too often these days. So that is amazing. Now, to tell you a little bit more about Larcenia, her calling as a mentor began when she successfully mentored student teachers at the University of Arizona South for 6 years. And then she was instrumental in chartering the Shiloh MOPS Group, and you'll hear more about the MOPS Group later. And she has participated in their program as a mentor for 12 years. She was also recognized by MOPS International with the leadership certification, and she recently led the Breathing Room for Moms and extended the same study to a larger group of women at Shiloh. So our show, the Everyday Passion Show, is really designed to find out. I talk and my guests have a heart-centered conversation and find out what it is that really makes them tick. What is their passion? So we already know on a personal level that for Larcenia, her family is her passion. So, would you please share with us? You don't have a business per se, but what else is one of your passions?
Yes, teaching and mentoring, reading and writing, and arithmetic. Well, not so much arithmetic, but the people. Somehow, God has anointed me, if you will, to be a teacher. And I didn't always know I could manage a big classroom of 25 students, but I soon learned that I could do that. And so I was a classroom teacher for 24 years. And my principals just saw in me something that I could impart to young teachers. I didn't know I was so gifted, but they saw it. And my husband said, sure, you want to have another adult in the classroom with you because classroom work is very intense. And so I just brought those young teachers along with me, and then it just blossomed. I love to see a seed being planted, and then it grows and grows and grows. And so I mentored student teachers in my classroom. And so as a bridge to retirement, I sought a job at the university, and they hired me to be a mentor for student teachers. And I did that for about 6 years. And I had just a great time going into the classroom, evaluating, mentoring, advising, and just giving them the results of my experience. And so I just had a great time doing that. And so when I retired, when I finished work at the University of Arizona, then MOPS came about. MOPS is a wonderful organization. It's international. It's been around since the 70s. It was founded in Denver, Colorado by a few mommies, and they thought, why not have this relationship between the older women and younger women. And it is biblical in Titus 2 that the older women should pour into the younger women. So my passion is being with people, mentoring, pouring into them. But then I also gain knowledge also because I'm such a curious person and I love to learn. And so I'm just always looking for that new idea, the new phrase, something new other people are doing. And so I have been in MOPS. It seems like forever. I say I should wear it on my forehead, MOPS, MOPS, because it's so rich. It is so huge. It is big. And we always have a theme that we work on, and there's training. It is everything you ever wanted in an organization. And so I thought it's worth my time. And so I'm as excited today as I was 12 years ago. And so breathing room, I think you mentioned that. Can I go into that? Breathing
Yes,
room.
you can,
So,
but may I ask you to pause there for a moment because we have been using the acronym MOPS. Would you tell us exactly what that stands for?
okay, MOPS is Mothers of Preschoolers, but it's more than that. We do have a core group of mothers of preschoolers, but it's from pregnancy to 5 years old. That's the main focus. But now we have MOPS Next. So it's mothers of older children also, because once they have had that experience of being in the group with the mothers of the preschool moms, then some have older children and they don't want to give it up because of the organization, because of the advantages, the benefits, what they learn from being in MOPS. It is so rich. It is training them to be leaders. All of us moms are leaders just by their position. And so we help them, how shall I say, grow in that leadership, become more consistent and more confident in who they are. Because a lot of our mommies have training in other areas. As I mentioned, they are engineers or nurses and that kind of, regular jobs, but they have chosen to be at home with their children, some during the day, but we have night groups too. So it's mothers of preschoolers plus.
Wonderful. Now, still talking about MOPS, because I have a feeling that this might be pretty new, or individuals may have heard of it, but they really don't know. What is the criteria to become a member of MOPS. In other words, to take advantage of what you talk about, the training, the camaraderie, and the association pouring in to these women who already are skilled professionally, but obviously something else is brought into this that's over and above just being a professional. What's the criteria, first of all, for becoming a member?
Criteria to become a member of MOPS as a mommy is that you are a mother. That's the main criteria for being a member of the group. And my position, well, it is as a mentor, we are faith based, so we are Christians. And so the mentoring part, we would like for you to be a Christian because you do lead Bible studies and we do have scriptural basis for what we do, but we accept all mommies. If you are a mommy, no matter if you're Muslim or atheist or agnostic or whatever, if you're a mom, you want to come to MOPS.
Mhm. And how wide? You said something earlier that I get the feeling that this is an international organization, or is it just nationwide in the United
Inter-
States?
International, Africa, Asia, Canada, you name it. We have MOPS. Guatemala. It's very big.
Ah, okay. So great. So thank you for that. Now you were about to talk about the breathing room for moms. Can you expand on that and let us know what that is?
Yes, every year we have a theme, and the theme All for Love came about, and maybe Breathing Room came a little bit before that, but we have videos that are professionally done from the organization, from headquarters in Denver. And there was this breathing room video that came up in one of our subjects because we do cover health and wellness and spirituality, marriages, and so forth. And breathing room was this little video from Sandra Stanley in Atlanta, Georgia, from North Point Ministries. And I thought, what is that? I didn't even know. And she talked about breathing room, finding breathing room as, and we define breathing room as that pace, finding the pace between your what you're doing presently and your physical limits, between the space or margin between your pace and your limits. Some people think we're unlimited, and maybe so in our minds, but physically we can't do every single thing. So breathing room is finding that time to breathe, literally breathe. And we did have breathing sessions in our training. So we studied, like, why is breathing room important? How do we lose it? What does it mean? And we presented this fact that fears are the things that cause us to lose breathing room, because we fear of not mattering, fear of falling behind, fear of missing out, or disappointing others. So we wanted to address those fears first. And then we looked for ways to find breathing room in our relationships, in our finances, in our schedules. And that was so relevant to me. It was relevant to the mommies. And so we started a class, and I was the leader of the class. And so we always, again, start out with a little seed, and then we watched it grow to a bigger audience. And everyone was so excited to learn more about breathing room. And so we did. And we are still focusing on how to keep and maintain that breathing room in our lives. So, because life is better with breathing room.
Wow. So what I heard you say, you talked about those fears, that fears, different kinds of fears are what stop us from recognizing our limits. So I would imagine that a part of this involves some self-care, acknowledging where your boundaries are for
Mhm.
yourself and boundaries for other people. Would that be correct?
Correct.
And can you speak to us a little bit more about that? Because the self-care part of it is something you work with a lot of work with a lot of women, whether it's in the breathing room or with MOPS. And I'm sure you have seen over the years where women do think we are overachievers for the most part. We have the babies to take care of. We're taking care of the responsibilities at home, whether we have a spouse, a spouse, whatever. We might be working outside of the home, and we're doing all these things. But inevitably, somebody gets kind of left out or not as much attention. What have you found? And that somebody is usually us, women. How has this breathing room or even MOPS, how you get together, how has this helped the women to kind of balance their lives, create more balance in their lives?
Thank you. Yes. Number one is recognizing what is going on, listening to your body. You mentioned self care, and I had done studies on breathing exercises, as you said, for self care. I am a student of Dr. Caroline Leaf, and I had taken some of her courses and started doing breathing exercises. Also, Dr. Weil from University of Arizona, and so I didn't. I don't know if you want me to tell you how I found out I was out of breathing room, but the breathing exercises really helped me. There are breathing exercises for to calm down, there to relax, to help your innards get more oxygen. And so disciplined breathing, practice breathing exercises was one of the things that we used in my class. Before we even got to the dynamics or the lesson, we would take time to do a breathing exercise for about 5 minutes. And then we just noticed that more mothers needed to take time, taking the Sabbath, talking about self-care. Our time is limited, so we have to limit what we do with our time. And so we looked at our schedules and said, well, what is my best yes? If I say no to this in a certain way, then I can say yes to the best thing. I can't say yes to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was something that we brought about, that we learned from this breathing room class, is the breathing exercises, taking the Sabbath, surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and not being overwhelmed by other people's problems. We always want to help, but know your associates. You become who you associate with. And so we looked at that. Prayer for me, for Christians, would be a helpful thing, which, and reading the scriptures, pouring the word of God into your being really, really helps. So identifying what the problem is and addressing it are some ways that we helped one another.
Excellent. And I love that. Prayer is the lifeline, isn't it?
It is.
Without prayer, because yes, and taking in God's word, that is so true. Now you said, I love what this expression, and I think I'm going to borrow it if I may. You said it's important these breathing exercises help you to be disciplined so that you can give an answer with the best yes. And isn't that what we want? The best yes? Because so many times, in order to please everybody else, we say yes. And then we say, why did I say yes? I don't have the time. And then, it builds resentment because we are not being true. We are not being authentic. We are not being in integrity. So being able to say our best yes after we have taken or evaluated all sides of the coin, then that certainly makes for a happier life. Now we're almost out of time, but I have to ask you about your tagline. It says, we will operate from the love zone, not from the fear zone. How would you just summarize that for us?
Well, again, I love that you asked that, because being a student of Dr. Leaf's, and I did a book study with my son, and it was called The Perfect You. And it doesn't mean perfection. Perfectionism is not a healthy thing. But the perfect you means that we are wired a certain way. And Dr. Leaf brought it out very clearly that we are wired to be in the love zone and to think of all things that are true, that are lovely, that is pure, that is excellent, that is noble, that is praiseworthy, to think on those things. And so we want to operate in the love zone, because then we give life. The fear zone, we are not wired for fear, we are wired for love. And the fear zone is death. And so we don't want to let those fears, again, going back to even breathing room, it all ties together, that the fear zone would only produce death, and it's not, you don't want to operate there. And so we want to operate in the love zone.
Perfectly answered and perfectly on time. Oh my goodness. You have shared so many valuable tips and strategies coming out of your connection with MOPS and your leadership there, which is another reason to congratulate you, because they awarded you with a leadership certification, and then for your work with the breathing room. So that has brought value to lots and lots of people. And for the breathing room, is this only with women, or it's women and men?
For us, it was for women, because that's where we are, but men needed too. As I said, my son was the first one who brought up breathing exercises, breath work to
Hmm.
me. But right now it was just for women, but we men should use it also.
You highly recommend it for men as well.
That's correct.
Okay, so thank you so much, Larcenia. And may I ask, if people are intrigued by what they have heard and they would love to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
Well, Yvonne, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. So those are the two ways that you may get in touch with me. I'm a part of Shiloh Christian Ministries in Sierra Vista, and I'm sure they would know who I am if I can't give their office number out, but that's where I am also.
Okay, very good. All right. So, well, thank you for your time with me today. Thank you for this heart centered conversation that we had today. I hope you also enjoyed the time we spent together. And for those of you who are watching us live, thank you so much. And if you'll be watching the replay, we are grateful for you and that you did so. And this will be on YouTube as well as on other social media platforms. Larcenia, thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You have a good day too.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye now.
Bye.